guys, welcome to my channel, Statements by Rainbow, and I'm Rainbow. So in this story, we will be coming out of Chicago, Illinois. An 8-year-old that was born on July 29th, 2004, GIZZEL Ford, and her untimely passing was in July 2013. GIZZEL was a bright, smart, honor roll student that loved to read. She even won a spelling bee. Beautiful, along with a beautiful soul that would speak to anyone. She was very mannerable and the life of the party when she got around her cousins, and as well as a blessing. GIZZEL had lots of dreams. She wanted to be a lawyer to help poor people like her mother because she hated seeing people struggling. A beginning to an end started when a DCFS case started, when the dad accused the mother to be homeless and was found roaming outside at 2 a.m. So she was removed from the home and placed with the grandmother, in which the grandmother had 2 other children, as well as the father lived in the home. The father was an unemployed felon. GIZZEL kept a diary that was stripes and had rainbows, and she liked to use a pink marker to write her typical thoughts that most children have, things about school, teachers, and home life, jumping rope, and stuff like that. Before living in the home with the grandmother and father, she had wrote a statement. People say I'm smart, courageous, and beautiful. Once living in the home with the grandmother and father, she wrote a statement saying, I hate this life, I'm a jerk. Allegedly, the grandmother, had too much on her plate trying to take care of all 3 of the children, as well as GIZZEL's father, who had an illness that made him bedridden. The grandmother alleged she tied GIZZEL up to her dad's bed due to GIZZEL trying to stab the father and a little cousin, as well as take her own life by jumping out of a window. Neighbors said that the grandmother could be nice, but then there was other times she had a look that you knew not to bother her, per se. GIZZEL's mother did try to get her back, but they kept GIZZEL away from everyone. Of course, with excuses saying she couldn't talk, she was busy, she was in the shower, or even she was on punishment. GIZZEL continued to write in her diary, stating that she knew that if she did everything she was supposed to do, she wouldn't have to do punishment. She included the type of punishment she had to do, such as squats for hours or stand in one place for an hour or two. She even stated, I really hope I don't mess up today so I can just sit down and play with everyone and watch TV. In another statement, she stated, it's going to be a great day today. And I assume later on, she included, not true. I failed. There have been many failed attempts of interventions with child services, even though there were clear indications. 1 month before the passing, she had been to a hospital for mysterious injuries. The doctor was suspicious, but yet did not make any reports on the family. DCFS had been to the home to visit. The grandmother had allegedly stated that most injuries were self-inflicted and that GIZZEL was a troubled child and that it was her coping habit. GIZZEL was looking forward to school to start, to get away from the house, saying in her diary that she was going to be a smart, beautiful young woman. I can do anything I put my mind to. Growing weaker, being tied to a pole that was attached to her dad's bed, being used as a punching bag, deprived of food and water, and as well as sleep. Hit with the belt. In her handwriting, you can see how weak she was. Her final entry into the diary was July 11th, 2013. I hate this life. I'm in super big trouble now. GIZZEL had passed. She had passed the next day, and her body was found soon after into the grandmother's trashy apartment. Due to the father's illness, he could not physically abuse GIZZEL, but he would direct it, and the mother gladly carried out the attacks. A cell phone video showed the grandmother beating terrified GIZZEL for breaking what she considered house arrest. Her standing silently with a sock stuffed in her mouth, her being punished trying to get a sip of water from the toilet. GIZZEL had previously a head full of hair and a beautiful smile, which what the grandmother had did, she was totally unrecognizable. And the grandmother showed no remorse. Chicago police forensics investigator broke down on the stand, stating this never happened as far as being so emotional, because this is one of the worst cases they had seen. 30 years on the force, wiping tears and continuing to apologize. The 10-year-old brother had also testified on the stand, saying he too received the abuse by the grandmother, and the grandmother had hit GIZZEL in the mouth with a spatula and had forced her to eat hot peppers and stand in a certain position for hours, and if she cried, she would put a sock in the mouth to keep her quiet. He cried, describing his sister as nice and liking to make friends, and like she liked it to play. GIZZEL was not breathing. She was cold. There was blood splattered. She was 30 pounds and had no chance against her almost 300-pound grandmother. She suffered a slow antagonizing. She was in a horrific state. She looked like she had been pulverized. From head to toe, cuts on the face, ear, lip, bruising and puncture wounds to her back, chest, abdomen, bruising to the front and back of the neck, deep lacerations to the buttocks, ligature marks to the ankle, wrist, and circular marks similar to a cigarette on the body. There were signs of hemorrhaging, fractures, broken cartilage. She had been strangled, starved, brutally beaten, and lastly, maggots had hatched inside of an untreated laceration in the head while still alive that started moving to the front, and lastly, it was discovered GIZZEL was dying already due to kidney failure. The grandmother was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to natural life. The father had withered away and passed while in custody. The family filed a lawsuit for wrongful death against the pediatrician who examined GIZZEL shortly before her death and failed to report the abuse. There was a $48 million settlement. My thoughts. It's one thing that you have, as far as the grandmother, you have a son that's ill. Grandma's supposed to be sweet. And we know grandmas ain't like they used to be these days. They don't even want to watch the kids. I'm not understanding, what did she have against her granddaughter? If anything, I understand, if she was a stepmother, but she was the grandmother. I'm not getting it. Then the dad, he got what he deserved. You already sick, and you can't do squat, but tell somebody what to do. And what you gonna tell somebody to do is hurt your child? He was sick in his head as well as his body. I'm glad the other children were able to get out. I understand they might have dealt with some things, but unfortunately they were able to make it out alive, unlike sister, cousin. That's my thoughts. As again I say, see something, say something. Something don't see right, I don't care how bad it is. Even if it's something little, say something. Thank you for watching.